We should be recording now. Are we there? Is
I
it
see
saying we're
recording and
recording?
I see recording and live. You did it.
Yay, it's doing it. Cool. Okay, well,
Awesome.
I'm going to let Janice open
All right.
and get us started.
Okay. Well, we just wanted to say thank you for joining live, or if you're watching the recording, we're really thankful that you're here. I was just saying right before we hit live that Angel and I were not experts in this, but we've just been following a lot of experts in the vision board world and goal setting world, like Shalene Johnson and Terry. I can never say her last name right. Terry.
Savelle Foy.
Thank you. And so we've taken a lot of little workshops and little challenges, and we ran one of these last year, and we just wanted to improve it and make it better. And so one of the things we added was this live call and this live workshop, and then the little party afterwards for anyone that's wanting to join us. But I first just wanted to introduce myself and how I met Angel. But I kind of fell into network marketing. So even though we're setting all these goals and everything, each year that I've been in business, or each year my kids are in a new milestone and all of that, I've used these vision boards. I've had years that I've hit everything on my vision board, and I've had years where everything seems to flop. And I thought kind of vision boards or goal setting was kind of hokey pokey. I didn't realize how important they were, especially last year when we did more of a biblical view and what scripture said about setting goals and having a plan and all of those things. So it really opened my eyes last year, even though I had done vision boards and goal setting many years before that. It really showed me how powerful it can be with our intention. And of course, you know that we're in the health and fitness world, and so we're always setting goals, and the new year is always the best time to do that. And so I think when I really started doing this, it was 2010. I just celebrated my 10th year, or my decade anniversary of bettering myself. So I really feel like vision boards and goal setting is just a way that I've been able to like have this path and say, okay, this is what I want, but what is it going to take to get there? And I've embedded this in my brain that it might sound great in theory, but just taking a step back and saying, once I get there, will this really make me happy? And I think that's what I love most about goal setting, is reverse engineering it and really putting more thought into it. And I'll be honest, last year we did this, and it was really hard for me. Just was in a place that I couldn't dream. I was in a negative headspace. So, you know, there's going to be years that you just feel like you're alive, and in other years that you're just like, just getting by, you know? And so, you know, don't take your eyes off of your own vision and look around and see what everybody else is doing, because we just have those valleys and we have those high moments. And what I love about this is doing it with other people, especially like-minded people. And that kind of brings me to how I met Angel. We were in line for tacos, imagine that, at a Pink Impact. So Pink Impact is Gateways. It's like all these women come together, and amazing speakers, Lisa Turkhurst and Lisa Harper, and the Gateway Church. And so I knew she was a coach already. She was on Team Maid's team, and she's a sister coach of mine. But just standing in line at a convention like that, I knew right then that we have similar vision, heart for what we do. And so just kind of slowly over time got to talking more and more, and then started running our groups together, started collaborating, and I just love working with someone like her. And that is something that was on my goal board a long time ago, is to find people with that desire to bring God into whatever they did, whether that's parenting or network marketing or, you know, it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to collaborate and have a business partner like that. And we talk about everything. we talk about our problems with our own kids, and, you know, we get to complain about our husbands every now and then. That comes up, but and then we get to brag about our challengers, and we get to brag on our, I mean, it's nice to have someone to say, I accomplished this, or not doing so well. And I know she's not there to judge me. She's there to cheer me on and encourage me. And so we just want to open that up to all of you and make sure that you know that's what we're here for. And that's what this group's about. This workshop is to encourage you and lift you up. So I will let Angel introduce herself. You have the floor.
I was going to add on to that. I was going to say, it's funny that you mentioned that we met at the taco truck at a pink conference. I specifically remember Christine Kane being on one of the speakers and her having an altar call and me answering that call and being like, I had been, and even years before that, but here I was translated or moved. We moved from one state, from Louisiana to Texas a few years back. And I went from full-time ministry and putting on women's conferences to attending a women's conference alone for the first time, and being literally way up in the high seats and looking to the woman and to my left and right and not knowing a soul. And but just having this deep heartfelt prayer to say, that I had prayed actually in the parking lot of Louisiana weeks before moving, and or weeks before my husband announcing, I really do think we need to move. And it was me saying, God, I just help me connect with more women in a real way. And I had no idea, he had this life plan for me in Texas. And but then the very next year, and I'd also told myself I do not want to attend this conference alone next year. I want to purposely, it was scary, but it was a goal of mine, a personal goal that I knew I was going to need to make myself uncomfortable and plant myself in the new circles of women and within a new church for me. And I remember knowing you and knowing your blue hair. The first time I met you was was at a little house gathering.
Yeah.
And I was just I was wanting to talk to you. And I was just like, how do I start a conversation with this girl? Let's ask her about her blue hair. And that was how I met you, but it didn't really go far. So absolutely meeting at the taco truck. I believe it was completely a God thing. And I love that we do collaborate together now. I love that, this accidental, I feel, what felt to me was this accidental fall into what we do now. And as health and fitness coaches, I didn't see that coming. I didn't plan on it. I didn't say, hey, hubby, move us to Texas so I can become a health and fitness coach. I thought I was where I was supposed to be. I believe, everything is at the time, but I didn't see it, that season of my life coming to an end and God opening a new door. So this is, it was very humbling and exciting and scary. And so tonight we're definitely going to be talking about some of those moments where it's humbling and to look at your goals, or to even think about saying what you want out loud. And then, that immediate feeling of, oh, that's uncomfortable. That's a little scary. That's, do I dare write that down, if not say it out loud to another person? And then, but also, the excitement that comes with sharing it with other people who are cheering you on and wanting to link arms with you and say, hey, I believe you can, let's do it together. There's something really powerful that happens whenever you do that. But so I know that you guys want to get this party started, right?
Yeah.
So like Janice has said, we have learned from some of the best, from all the gurus, all the entrepreneurial gurus, as well as the spiritual leaders of our time, and across the board. And y'all heard me share some of the stories of from the book Dream It, Pin It, Live It. I definitely recommend that book if you really want to take vision board to building and writing your goals to a whole nother level. But in one of my videos, I did share the scripture, Habakkuk 2, write the vision, make it plain. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to help you make it plain. We're going to help you do the second part of that scripture where it says, so that everyone who passes may be able to read it easily and quickly as he hastens by. So that's kind of the point of putting things on a board, is so that every day as you look at it, every day as you pass by it, as you're hastening by and quickly passing, you are putting the vision before you. You are reminding yourself what God's put on your heart. You're reminding yourself what you really want at the end of the day, what you really want for your life, that sometimes seems to slip away, or the goal line, the deadline we give ourselves seems to be pushed further and further away. And then what happens when hope is deferred like that is our heart becomes sick. That's when we get truly sad. That's when, and I can say it because I've experienced it. That's when depression starts to seep in, that feeling of, maybe I'll never accomplish this thing. And we lose our joy and our luster for life. And sometimes, now some of you are like, well, that's really deep. I've never been there. But but I'm speaking to the people who maybe have been there with me, because if I find that when we let it go and we let it go and we let it go, and we get really good at breaking promises to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when we stop wanting to dream. That's when we stop wanting to try to make ourselves the best version of ourselves. That's when we stop trying to create the life that we ultimately want. And so we want to make sure that we're stirring up the gifts and the hope inside you tonight, and just kind of lead you through this process that we have done several years in the making. But instead of just helping you put pretty pictures on a board, we're going to help you make actionable steps. So Janice is going to tell us tonight our 4 points on our agenda and what we're going to give you tonight.
Yes, so we're going to go through this stuff, and you might have heard it before, but we really wanted to hit home on these 4 points tonight, so that when you jump off of here, you have been helped get a really clear vision of what you want and why. And we also want to give you guidelines on your vision board, right? Some people might have never done that before. And maybe there's something new that we can share with you if you've done it before. And then the third thing is identify some of your blockers you may be having that's really preventing you from having that life you want, or putting down the things you want. Maybe, and then 4, the action steps for implementing that. So that is how we will spend our time tonight on the workshop side of it before we break out and turn on our worship music and have the actual party.
Yeah, so we're gonna start really with helping us all really take a moment and pause and give yourself permission to ask yourself some questions that will help you get to the things that matter most. The things not what people say matter most, okay? Not what you see social media saying and society pushing as what your agenda should be, but what you calling it by, if I'm talking to Janice, what is most important and priority to Janice, not just as a person, but right now in this season of her life, with the things that are on her plate as it concerns her aspirations, personal, for both herself and her family, and the mother she wants to be, the wife she wants to be, the woman she wants to be, the volunteer she wants to be. What is mostly going to this honestly was what, I think some people are like looking at me going, Angel, why are you still talking about vision? And on, when most people, they do that like January 1, it's done. Like we're over 2 weeks into January. Why are we still talking? Why are you not done with your vision board yet? Why are you just now doing a vision board party? And y'all, it's because, sometimes, it's easy to just wake up January 1 and you already know, like, exactly. But sometimes, you kind of look back at the year before and you go, hold on, I think some of the things that didn't happen for me last year was maybe because I wasn't as clear on what it was actually going to produce in my life. Or maybe I wasn't super clear about what I really wanted, or maybe what I thought I wanted didn't produce the feeling and the joy that I wanted to come out of it. And joy is my word for 2020, because one of the mentors in my life, when we were talking towards the last quarter of the year, and we were talking in person about, I've been in this place where I was just like, you know what, something's got to give, something's going to have to change, and I can't quite put my finger on it. And that's what mentors are for. That's what coaches are for. And he started gently going through a series of questions to try to help me dig into finding the answer. And I had also reached out to my spiritual mom, and God is so good because he gave me a dream to preempt that, me reaching out to her and asking her, like, what do you get out of that dream? Like, because, and then she was able to speak to me. And from all these points between all the mentors in my life, the clear thing to me was God said, you need to look again at what you thought you wanted. Look again at the vision that you have for your life, your team, your challenge groups, the people in your circles, your family. Look again at your plans for your budget, for your bank account, for your spiritual growth. Look again at all those areas of your life and cast a new vision. Rewrite it, make it again. Stop holding on to old ideas and write what you really want. And find your joy. Chase the things that bring you joy, not the things that you think everyone says you should be chasing. Chase the things that are really their priority to you. And I'm telling you this now, these things are the things that bring you joy. Those are the things that go on your priority list. Those are the things, because you can get all kinds of things written down on your board. You can be like, yeah, I'm going to pay off $10,000 for the debt. Yeah, I'm going to be, 2,000 star diamond rank and like all that, or whatever, the accolades and all the things. But if it's not going to really tie into your purpose and your emotional or even spiritual convictions about what you believe brings joy to your life, you're going to be miserable. No matter how many of the things on the board get pinned off, scratched off, accomplished, or checked off on your list. Yeah. So before the hustle of the year, before we get like full steam ahead into spring here, because I can't believe people are already talking about spring break, and like I'm like, man, we just got back from winter break. Yeah. But before we have to like completely plow through this whole new 2020, let's take a minute, take a breath, and say, okay, I'm going to prioritize my joy. And I'm going to strategize everything in my life and all the goals that I'm going to write down tonight. I'm going to strategize all the decisions that I make in 2020 and all the relationships that I keep or leave and drop and whatever around my joy, around the things that will bring me joy. And I'm going to be able to say beyond a shadow of a doubt what I'm willing to let go of to make room for more of that joy and feel at peace with it. Right? Yep. Because there are going to be sacrifices that we're going to have to make. We have to make room for the increase. Right? Yep. So we're going to help walk you through or help you build mile markers instead of just having like this one big, great like idea, because we can build a great vision, an idea in our mind. Janice is going to ask you some questions and you're going to start dreaming and start thinking about the kind of life that you want. But then we're going to be like, hold up, let's make some mile markers. Let's make some benchmarks. Let's write some things down that will help us identify and know that we are staying on track towards that big dream place. Mm-hmm. Right? So we don't like get so distracted and forget and then come back and look at our vision board and go, what the heck happened? Like,
or
look
what
at
did
it
that
in
mean?
2020.
Or
yeah.
what did that mean?
Right.
What did that
what
even
was it I was going to do to help me get to that point? Wait, what? Right?
Yeah.
So, and we also want to make sure that you don't just make, like some of you, you're entrepreneurs, you're coaches on our team. Some of you have your own businesses. Some of you have your own jobs and careers that that you're going to want to put on that board. But we want to make sure that you don't just make it about jobs. Don't just make it about careers. Don't just make it about coaching. Right. If you're a coach on our team, because especially in the life of an entrepreneur, but definitely everyone, jobs and careers and businesses, that's only one small part of our life. Yeah. And we need to treat the whole person, not me and Janice need to treat the whole person. You need to treat your whole person. Mm-hmm. And make sure you're taking care of all of that person. Yep. So that the joy can come. So we're going to get thinking about the areas that you're going to want to focus on when it comes to creating that vision board. And so Janice is going to start.
So I think the thing that you want to do is, even if you have a piece of paper now, and even if you've already written out all these great ideas that you might already have your 10 things that you want to do. What I want you to do is either write out these things or look back at what you already have started and make sure that you're thinking, okay, what do I want in my business? Or is there any goals that you have set for work? Or then also, of course, for health and fitness coaches, we can't leave out your health. But what about your relationships? Do you have a goal specific for your relationships? Do you have a goal for finances? Do you have a goal for your mindset? So different areas of your life, there's, that's what, like she was saying, to piggyback off what she was saying, you don't want to just focus on one thing, because your time is not spent on one thing. We have a life to live. We have children to raise. We have mouths to feed. And some of you might be wiping baby butts or picking up dog poop. So just, think about your relationships, your career ambitions, your mind and body, your passions. Like, what do you love to do? What brings you joy? Those hobbies. What goals can you set in those areas and do more of those things that you love so much? You already know what they are. Or maybe you stop doing those things, those hobbies, those things that bring you joy. What do you need to add back into your life in wealth and abundance? So it might not just be paying off debt or saving. It might not even be saving money. It might just, maybe you have a financial goal to give to a new ministry or go on a mission trip, or, so it can be the way you want to spend your money if you're doing well in the financial situation. Or maybe it is that you want to stop being a slave to the lender, right? So think about all those things. And while you're doing that, just wanted to ask these questions. And like I said, I can give you these questions later if you need me to repeat them or whatever. But how do you feel joy in what you have created? So when you write these things down and say, let's just use a mind and body. You set a goal for mind and body. How does reaching this goal, how is this going to make you feel once you've created or reached that goal? Right? So you want to think ahead, like, is this going to bring the outcome that I want? And I know some things are not going to be fun doing it, but the outcome, is it going to be good for you? It's going to be positive. It's going to make a real difference in your life and bring that sense of peace and joy. And how will these things on my board how are they going to bring me joy? How are they going to bring fulfillment? How are they going to bring purpose? How are these things going to enrich your life? So sometimes you can do these journaling and prompts, and when you're thinking about some people end their day with gratitude or thankfulness, and maybe you ask these questions for yourself every single month. I know Chalene Johnson talks about writing out your 10 goals every single month without looking at the month before, because what's really on your heart right now will make it on that list. And if you just keep forgetting about it, maybe it's not meant to be moved on, right? But or you can just be really forgetful like I do, and I still have to look back because they do. But if this is before I did vision boards, I used to just write them out. So like she said, if you have a vision board and it's right in front of you and you're haste, hey, Tina, I just saw that you jumped on. All right, so let me see if there's any other questions that we wanted. Always ask you why you're putting this on your vision board. Why are you putting that on your vision board? You have to ask yourself that, right? And be honest with yourself. And if, when you really think about it, if you're starting to do it for someone else, or because you like, try to allow things not to define your worth, but allow your vision to be pushed based on your purpose, right? And so I think that's where I've hiccuped. We're going to talk about some of the things that can distract you or derail you. I wanted to bring that up now. Is there's a lot of times I'll see that someone else is going for that, and I say, oh, I want to go for that, and I put it on my vision board, and then I reevaluate as I'm trying to reach it. I'm like, oh, you have to do that. Oh, you have to do that. I don't know how to do that, right? So it sometimes it has nothing to do with being lazy, or it's not because it's stepping out of your comfort zone. It's like, I don't want to take that time away from my family right now. That is not where my time is best used right now. And I used to beat myself up and stop and start, oh, it's just because you are afraid of success, or you're afraid of this, or you're afraid of that. So you know yourself, and you know your purpose and what matters most. And I love that Angel said that right now in this season. You're going to have another month. You're going to have another year to go for things. This is not the end all, right? And so, and earlier she was talking about reflecting on the years past. You might see things on there that you want to add this month or this year. Or there might be something that starts to make you think, oh, I didn't hit that. But now you can reevaluate, and can you ask these questions to those goals that you didn't reach? Should they join this year? Maybe that goal is something that you have to wait 5 years to see come into fruition, but keeping it on your vision board and doing a little bit each month or day or year will eventually get you there if you remember all these questions and keep pushing yourself, so you're, like she said, you're not miserable once you get there. And it happens. A lot of people go to college and pay big bucks year after year after year, get a degree, they're there, and they hate it. You will not believe the statistics of that happening, or how many times they change their degree in an 4-year span, 8 to 4 year or 48 years, you know? All right, I'm getting off topic. All right, so I'll let you take the next topic there, girl.
So we want to remind you also, before you as you're writing these things down, as we're talking and you're putting down some of your goals tonight, we want to remind you that all those things that you want for your life, the trips, the places you want to go, the income you want to make, the health and fitness goals you want to reach, all the things that you want in your life, they were planted in you because God put them there. So you are 100% free and given permission to dream them. Okay, so I want you to let that sink in for a minute, because sometimes we like to limit or cap ourselves and what we allow ourselves to want for ourselves. We talk ourselves out of what we really want because we're scared of how it will be perceived. We're nervous that it will make someone else uncomfortable. We are scared that we're asking for too much, or that we really, really don't deserve it, or maybe we're hearing wrong, maybe but one of the things that I remember learning from Terry Savelle was she was talking about that scripture where it says God gives us the desires of our heart, and that the word desire in that scripture literally translates as from the Father. So it really helped. It gave me comfort to know that it wasn't selfish, that God wants the best for me. He wants me to have things in my life that bring me joy, not just things, but experiences. Otherwise, why would he plant me here? And why would he plant those things in my heart?
Mm-hmm.
Why would he give me that idea? Why would he give me that little like, ooh, like when I would maybe witness someone else achieving that thing for the first time and give me that small inkling of a hope, like, I wonder if I could do that. And so tonight as you're thinking about it, those hopes are going to spring up and bubble up to the top of your heart. And your job is not to squash them down, but to lean in and believe that that's God prompting your heart right now, stirring it up and saying, hey, you've got permission to want this because I want it for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm showing it to you. Scripture says that he gives us not just the desire, he gives us the visions. He shows us the way he wants us to go, right? He guides us. And so we just need to have the faith part comes in saying, okay, I can't see it, but I'm going to act like I believe it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's what real faith is. Acting as if it's already true, even though you don't have any physical evidence yet to say that it is, right? So we're going to give we're going to give ourselves permission to dream and dream big. I know it sounds cliche,
mm-hmm.
but I think that that's just because that's the way the world's presented it. Their idea of what dream big is. Dream big does not necessarily mean a dollar amount. Like the world might try to say, or somebody else in your life might try to, some social influence, some cutie patootie social influencer out there with, the perfect little Instagram page. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And like every single photo is perfectly branded and like every picture is only pink and white and gray. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying we see that and we're attracted to that. And then we think, oh, I need to want what she has the way that she has it. And then in the next, but at no point in time do we say, but wait a minute, how does that fit in my life? And why do I want it?
Mm-hmm.
What is it going to mean for me to have it? So I'm going to start asking you these questions. They're just to help guide you. And I want you to be writing things down. Okay. It's real-time workshop part right here. Okay. So don't just be like, oh, that's a nice question, I'll get back to it. And I don't want you to think about it too hard. Yes, I'm asking you to tap in and let God talk to you about it. But God talking to us about it, honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't always take months. It doesn't. Okay, and it's okay if you write it down in a pencil with an eraser. So you can just know whatever comes up, whatever's bubbling up to the surface of your heart tonight, you're just going to scribble it down fast. And if he deposits more and more things in your heart and in your mind in the hours and days and weeks to come, you can come back to that piece of paper and add on or scratch through and word it better. You feel me? Because I'm a recovering perfectionist too. I want it exactly right before I put it down, but that's just not how this workshop works. Okay? Clarity has to come sometimes through that process. So this is just the beginning of the process. Number 1, what does your life look like if money isn't an issue? Okay, so like what would you want to spend your time doing if you didn't have to clock in somewhere? What do you really want to be spending? Or if you had all the money in the world, what would you be doing with your time? And is it more of what you're currently doing or something else instead or in addition to? When you think of the word freedom, what does that really look like? Okay. What does freedom mean to you? It's not just about finances for some people. Freedom sometimes means I'm free in myself. to be myself. And that can be something that you're chasing on your vision board this year. You see? So it doesn't necessarily have to be what sounds like the obvious answer should be. Okay? But, you know, if you were to look 5 years down the road, what would you rather your life be looking like? What are you, if you, as you look around your life right now, what are the things you feel like you're missing that you would rather they be there in another 12, 24, 48 months? Right? And remember what we said about chasing joy and making sure that it's the priorities, the things that are priority on our list are the things that bring us joy. So make sure as you're envisioning those things that you want to be doing, it's things that actually feed the joy, not what makes you help look like a better person in someone else's eyes. Okay? Like, it's a good thing to want to be a volunteer, you know, volunteer more hours at the local whatever, or even at your church. No one's denying that's a good thing. But is that God's perfect plan for you right now? Is it going to bring you more joy to put in more hours?
Or make you feel more busy?
Or is it just going to make you feel more busy?
Do you feel
Is it actually going to, yeah, exactly. Right. Is it going to actually, in actuality, is it going to be stealing time away from another side project, you know, that he's been trying to prompt you to do, to grow something that you won't be able to do if you don't put the time into it? And so in that sense, this is where the part comes in where we were talking about earlier, like, it's not selfish to want the things you want. On the service level, I remember sitting at a PTA meeting and us having to decide whether we were going to do PTA again the following year. And me saying, I'm not going to volunteer for PTA next year, surface level, just that answer sounds kind of selfish, kind of sounds like I could get judged really quickly. And I did. I saw the eyes around the room, right? And they're like, but why? I don't understand. Right. You know? Yeah. But it was because God had put something else on my heart that he made me see that unless I made room for it, I wasn't going to have the time for it. And I was just going to find myself resenting that PTA if I didn't let go of it when I did. You see what I'm saying? Yep. So I had to bless and release and pray for the next person that would sit in my position. Right? So, and what do you want to be known for? Okay. So this feeds that joy part too. And then what Janice said about not just making yourself busy. Okay. But like, what kind of person do you want to be known for being? You know, what do you want people to be saying your reputation is and what your legacy is? What do you want your children to say when they're no longer just knee height or waist height, but they've got families of their own? What do you want the people on your team, if some of you are leading teams here today, whether it's from either virtually or from a physical office place, the team of people that you work with, you know, what do you want them to recognize about what is important to you and how you spend your time and the type of impression that you leave? You know, are you an inspiring person? Are you a creative person? Are you known for having great integrity and hardworking? You know, what is it that you want people to feel and know about you? What have you always wanted to do? Here's another question. What have you always wanted to do, but never had the courage to do it? You've always talked yourself out of it at the last minute? Or maybe you've even put it on the calendar, but then as the days and weeks, tick, 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 and then you got closer and closer, for one reason or another, you talked yourself out of it and you backed away. So either because fears came up or because you allowed other circumstances to come in and crowd out your time for it.
Actually, if you guys would, I know you guys are taking notes on some of this, if you would in the comments below, while she's going through this, on that one where it says, what have you always wanted to do, but you've never had the courage, or maybe even financial means? Like, what is it? Could you guys type those in? I would actually like to see what those are in the chat, because I think we get a little I mean, I feel my heart pounding right now just because I'm going to type mine in. I'm going to share mine in the notes. Angel, you do it too. I'll just take a second.
I didn't put that. I'm not putting this on my vision board, but this is the first thing that popped in my head that I've said I always wanted to do.
And you just
oh Lord, I'm not giving a backstory behind this. Okay.
We'll be here all day if we do.
Here's another one. Not all of those seem fun, but they're like, they bring all kinds of anxiety in my body whenever I look at them. So,
oh, ballet class. Love it. Yeah, so Angel says learn how to swim underwater, and she's not giving a backstory. Horseback riding, hip hop dance class. Kat says ballet class. And I wrote writing my own book or cookbook. I keep putting that on my vision, and I talk myself out of it. Oh, Autumn just came out with their new 21-day fixed cookbook right after I said I was going to do one. And those are all the recipes that I like to cook, and now they're in her cookbook. So I just find every little excuse and reason. Oh, I can't use it. I couldn't figure out Adobe. I ran into Adobe problems. So it's crazy.
So, I mean, and in full disclosure, I've had someone in my life tell me, when I was younger, they said, you know, Angel, you have a tendency to not finish things. Things like that stick with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's a project or a relationship, you know, like a personal thing or a professional thing.
Yeah.
And those ideas can stop us.
We have more coming in too. So, okay, people are still sharing. Let's see. Writing a book and sharing their story, Amanda says. Having a bake shop, Tina Meadows, I've seen your cakes. That's such an awesome idea. Lynette says building a personal brand on social media, writing a fictional story, and she said also delegating work so that I can have more time to travel alone. And building a personal brand on social media, right? And I said that. And then Kat says, lean and strong-bodied girl, you are well on your way.
Yes, you are. So we have a few more questions we're going to go through. So keep on writing down for yourself and feel free to share. What do you wish you had more time for in your life? Just like the one thing you just keep telling yourself, like, oh, I wish I could do more of that, but I just don't have the time. Like, or maybe it's something maybe it's not something you've never done, like the question we had a minute ago, but maybe it's something that, you know, you really, you do like once a year or once every 3 to 4 months, but then you always leave and telling yourself or feeling like, man, I wish I could do this every week or every month, you know? What do you find yourself saying, I'm too busy for? Is it the PTA? Is it volunteering? For me, for a long time, I didn't have time to go to a women's Bible study group, even though I wanted it, even though I had asked God for it. You know, I'm the person, remember, who said, Lord, plant me in new social circles and help me connect with women. Duh. Right? But I made excuses. I said, oh, I don't really have time for that. I can't find one that matches my schedule. And that was a very good reason or excuse for me to hide behind. What's a passion project of yours? Is it to start a side business? Is it to start an Etsy shop? Is it to create and launch your own book or program, or, you know, your own book of devotionals, your own online experience, you know, whatever it is. Here's another question. Is there anything else that you want to manifest into your life? Like, okay, so that's a big, big, like deep kind of question. But okay, so think about it like this. You told yourself that you were going to go to college, get this degree, get this kind of job, and now you've done that. Did you create another dream after that? Is there a next level? Is there a something else? Maybe it's related, maybe it's not related. Maybe it's just been that long since you've opened your mind and allowed an idea to come. But what else do you want to create in your life? Maybe it's something as simple as building a garden, like what's something that you want to write it down, Janice, write it down.
I have
want
a yard.
To manifest into your life. Things, and it needs to be things, remember, just a reminder, it's things that matter to you. Things that bring that joy up. Things that when you think about it, you're like, man, I would be so happy and just like doing an inner lumping dance. When I'm holding my coffee cup and looking at that garden, I'm just like, woo, like what, it needs to be something that brings joy, evokes a sense of, that's my purpose. Like, that's what God put me here for. And that does not mean it's big, right? Me being a mama to my kids and being available to them, that was part of my vision board last year. And it was all about me really wanting to make sure that I felt more connected on an emotional level with my kids. And coming on the other end of 2019, I can now tell you, and Janice knows, there was 100% God behind that desire he put in my heart.
It was needed.
Before I even knew what was going to happen in 2019.
I was thinking this earlier and hoping I didn't forget this thought. So go ahead. Sorry for interrupting. But the things that you're doing now are preparing you for something else. Right? So if God, like she said, that God might plant these things in our heart, and we might not even know the fruit or the intent he has behind it, but you better believe that it is a purpose that he has in store for us, and it's going to equip us along the way. It's amazing for me to stop and think back about even just putting things on your vision and the person that you become. I think we talk about this a little later. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
But it's so true that God has a plan and a purpose behind everything that you're doing. And sometimes I've seen so many people think that they're going to do this, and they're like, why, Lord, do you have me doing this? And then you wind up realizing that they helped you become the person you needed to be for that,
Yeah.
And they don't make
because if he hadn't moved me to Texas, and if he hadn't made me have to become my own CEO and go on this whole big personal development journey, I would not have been prepared for some of the dynamics that have happened in my life over the last few years, the old me prior to coming here, as wonderful as much as I was enjoying my life then, and it was good, there were things that mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I was not yet grown. And financially, we were not ready as a family to be able to do. So it's just, you never know what God is preparing you for. And I totally believe that that's what this time is for. So just be thinking, whatever you think of that maybe you have not yet created in your life, that you just think that would be that would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Man, that would be pretty awesome. Right. And maybe, just maybe, it's something that God has helped you achieve in your life already. You've accomplished that thing, and now he's trying to get you to pay it forward. He's trying to get you to become the teacher. He's trying to get you to become the leader. He's trying to get you to be the mentor. He's trying to get you to be the hand reaching out to the next sister coming up in line, trying to walk in her purpose. And you're like, here, baby, like, come alongside me, friend, and let me help you. Right?
Absolutely.
Let me show you how I did it.
Yeah. And when you're thinking of these things, right, this is just jotting things down as they come to you. You also, when you're writing these things, and this might be something you do tonight when we break out if you have time, or the next time you sit down to do this, but just instead of just saying, like, for instance, like if one of your goals is to take a photography class, instead of just saying that you want to take a photography class, say you have to make a point that you're going to put it on your calendar and ask yourself, what is it going to take for me to get this photography class? You have, and Shalene talks about it as reverse engineering that goal. And sometimes you just might need, like we said, we wanted to help you break it down into doable action steps and tasks. And sometimes it's like we just need to break it down and simplify it, right? And so instead of just looking at it as I need to go deeper in this and make it harder for myself and it's just more work, but really what it's doing is simplifying it and showing you it's not as hard, it's not as hard as you think it might be to reach that goal. If you just plan it, make time for it, do a little research and figure out the steps that it's going to take to make it happen. So for me, sometimes when I look at the steps, like I said earlier, I realize that's going to take me away from the things that matter most to me. Or you'll see, oh yeah, that aligns right with the growth that I want. That aligns with the time I need to still spend with the kids. Oh, yep, that aligns because it doesn't take me away from Sunday, my day with my family. And then sometimes it might do the opposite. And it's okay to go that deep in it, because those are the things that are going to take you away from the people you love the most, the people that matter most. And I'll never forget when Shalene said, she would reach a goal and then her family was mad at her. She's like,
Right.
what? I did all this work for us.
Right.
Yeah. But
yeah. And it was something that I forgot to say, but just to make sure we're being clear about it. But when we're saying why, like, what's going to bring you joy about it, and like, why do you want the thing? It's not just like, hey, I want an extra $5,000 to every month. It's what is that $5,000 going to provide for you?
Mm-hmm. What is
it going to manifest in your life? What is it going to make possible for you?
Yep.
Yep.
What are you going to use it on?
Yeah. Like I want a date with my husband every week. Okay. Why? What is that going to create in your marriage?
Yeah.
Why do you want that time with him?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So there needs to be a why that you're asking and writing down the why. Attach it to the what.
Yeah. And that's just, I learned this from Kat. So Kat and Lynette probably know what I'm talking about. But we've heard it before, is where like money just needs a purpose. So does every other goal on your board. There's got to be a purpose behind it. And I think we know what that purpose is, but do we really? And that's what we want you to do. And that's when we said we've done this before and we wanted to make it better. That's the part that we feel like we were missing last time, is helping you find the purpose behind what you're doing. So let's see, where we were. I'm sorry. Didn't want to miss anything in the last part that I was making.
Yep. Right there.
Yeah. All right. So, this one is almost like preaching to myself. This next part is never say anything is too far off, because you can make anything reality. Like, we are in charge of that, right? Never be too afraid to put things on your board now. You're not allowing, you get to allow or not allow things, and things can be changed later on, right? So don't hold yourself back right now, and just know that you can always reevaluate later, and give yourself the opportunity to become the person that it's going to take. We kind of hit on that earlier, that whatever it's going to take to get there, right? So we mentioned something about this being a kingdom principle, and it's not coming to me. Do you remember when we were first talking about hosting this, that was something important we wanted to hit on?
The idea that, okay, and it's there's a scripture, okay, and he's saying, okay, what you seek is what you will find. So imagine if you don't do this vision work, if you don't write down the things, if you don't give God the opportunity to talk to you about the desires that he has for your life, what are you going to have to seek? Mm-hmm. If you have nothing to seek, you have nothing to find. That's right. The kingdom principle.
Yeah, there you
right?
go. Yeah.
And imagine though also that and here's another one, right? Is your plant, you expect a harvest without actually planting seed, mm-hmm. right?
Right.
Seed time and harvest. Harvest can't come without the seed time, the seed and the time, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so you have to, it starts here and now. It starts with first gaining clarity. Okay, what kind of crop do I want? Mm-hmm. You know, the farmer has to decide ahead of time, do I want corn? Mm-hmm. Do I want potatoes? Like, you know, like what is the crop that I want? What is the crop I need?
Right. And
what is, right?
Yep.
And then planting the actual correct seed for that thing.
Right. And preparing the soil correctly for that seed. Right. All right. So
and the soil is your heart, by the way. If you didn't know that, the soil is your heart, which is goes with that whole mindset thing that we're talking about. Allowing yourself to dream. It's all the same principle. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Sorry. And then, so we wanted to go over what is a vision board. Most of you know this. And the purpose of the vision board, it's what you envision for your life. It knows no limits. You're not allowing yourself to put limits or parameters on your life. Let's see. So no goal or desire is silly. That's a big one. I bet you right now you're thinking of something that someone would be like, that's silly. Why would you put that on your board? I know it can be hard to say your goals and visions out loud, but we're all human here. Every single person on this group is human. If you're not, can you please raise your hand if you're not human? Just kidding. Okay, good. All right. This is a block, though, and that this is one thing that we really wanted to talk about. We led with this, the blockers that we were going to have, that we really wanted to focus in on, and what stops you from doing this. So we can not only stops you from dreaming and putting the vision on the board, but then also applying the task, the daily steps that's going to take, right? Applying yourself to those things that's going to help you reach it. So these are your desires. Don't hold yourself back based on what you think someone else will say or think. They're too busy focusing on their goals anyway. Okay, they're not worried about yours. If they have something to say about it, it's just probably because of lack of what they're doing on their end, right?
Right.
Let's see. And then you might look at this is where we were talking about earlier. You might look at last year's vision board and feel like you failed. Can anybody here think of last year something? I feel like a little bit of a failed attempt at that. I'm raising my hand on almost all 10 of my goals. Literally. Okay, so we've all failed, right? But what we want to do tonight is if you do take our advice on reflecting on last year, we want you to see those as not failures, but as a learning opportunity. Why did they not come? Was it because ultimately it really didn't matter as much as you thought it should or would, and it's okay to let it go, and maybe another year you'll have a better attempt at surviving and thriving towards that goal? Or can you apply some of these things to it and make it happen this year? Right? Instead of looking at it as a failure, because if you look at it only as a failure and not as a chance to learn about yourself or learn and grow in that area, then what you do is you stop yourself from allowing yourself to dream and now and put new things on your vision board or whatever. So that's just a blocker. So I'll let Angel go into more of the reflecting on your last year's vision board, because those are your notes, not mine.
So she was talking about how, like, basically you might have to reprioritize from either last year, or also give yourself freedom right now to know that whatever goes on your board right now throughout the year, you'll be able to reprioritize like as you go. Yep. Right. Yep. So just like, I know some of us are we have legalistic tendencies. So we're just going to like shake that out like right now. And not like restrict ourselves. And we also get really fearful. We don't want to put that stuff on the board because if somebody might actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like even my husband, like I don't want him walking in my office and being like, "What's this about? What's that? What's that gonna? What do you mean? Why do you want that?"
Uh-huh.
Because
Yep.
it's just going to be a picture or, with maybe a word next to it or something. And, I don't want to have to, that's because I want this, like I get flustered, and he's my husband. He's my best friend, in life. He's my partner in life. But sometimes saying those things out loud, so, but we don't want that to hold you back. Okay. And we don't want you to not put something on your board. Okay. There's a difference between taking something off because we recognize that it's no longer a priority and it's not going to bring us any joy, and us taking something off the board because we're afraid of failing at it, or we're afraid of ridicule or someone criticizing us for it, or because we're afraid we're not good enough to achieve it. Those are two very different things.
Yes.
And so it's okay to add to your board. It's okay to take away from your board as we go through the year. And it's feeling good about the goals you have set and accomplished. Okay. As you're looking back at your board from last year, don't just focus in and get all hung up on, because we can do this. We beat ourselves up. Our world's worst critic is ourselves. A lot of times we know how to beat ourselves up good.
Mm-hmm.
And we replay that record in our minds. We hear Billy Bob from third grade who, made fun of us and stuff. And, that guy, this may or may not be a true story, that guy at our third job and that said we had the most annoying voice ever, we let those things run over in our brains and discourage us. And so we just want to encourage you right now, it's not about those things that didn't happen. It's about focusing on the things that did and what we learned from the ones that didn't, so we can correct our course. Remember the mile markers we talked about? Okay, we're going to correct our course and just focus on the positive things that did happen and know that it's okay to adjust from whatever it was last year, or from whatever, adjust as you go through 2020. So as we're working towards the big idea that we have for our life, when we've asked, okay, what's the big thing you want to manifest? What's the thing that you would spend your time on? What do you want to spend more of your time or money on? What do you want to have more money for? As we're thinking about those big ideas, we want to start thinking about the mile markers that will help us along the way, and sometimes have us take detours, sometimes help us correct our course as we're going. Like maybe we thought it was going to be a straight line, and we realized later it's going to meander because we're following those joy things, right? And so trust, as you're going through the year, you want to trust where the joy is, trust where the peace is. That was something I'll never forget Joyce Meyer teaching about, where she was saying, you need to follow the peace. Okay, for the Spirit, those are the things that are going to be attached to your mile markers. Follow those feelings. What do you have peace with? That could very well be the indicator that Holy Spirit's given the stamp of approval, right? So we're going to talk real quick about the common mistakes that we make when we're making our vision board sometimes, right? So the first thing is a lot of times will create a vision board with lots of things on it, the things that we write down on our lists, that they're very doable, but they're not stretching us and growing us. They're not dreamable. Okay. So it's a goal that and that's a doable goal would be something that, okay, I'm probably going to achieve that anyway. I was pretty much already planning on doing that, and it's just going to naturally happen. So it's not really something that I'm going to have to work towards or have a big dream attached to it. It's just going to kind of happen. Right. So, is it is it, remember we talked about the bubbling up of the joy, the little bit of an excitement, and maybe even a little bit of uncomfortableness? Like, is it growing me? Is it going to stretch me? Or is it just kind of like something I know it's going to happen, that, yeah, it's going to be a good thing, but would it happen anyway without me even trying? We want to make sure that it's something I'm stretching myself for. So another mistake is that we would sometimes write down a goal or put something on our board that literally is way too far out. Okay. So we forget to, it's the things. Oh, so like if we were to put something on our board that is not like something we need to achieve on our way to the big vision, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to just put the big vision on the vision board. I know that sounds like, I know that sometimes we have that idea that our vision board is supposed to be like the picture of the mansion we're going to live in. No, right? No, it's what are the steps I can take in 2020 to have me maybe financially ready for that mansion that's going to come one day? Like, what are the things I can do in the next 90 days that's going to help me get to that big idea, right?
And whenever we were going through this too, because what I was going to use this year, I was thinking, how could I do that? Like, if I had a bigger vision, how could I break that down, like she's saying, into things that help me focus this year on what I want to accomplish, right? And sometimes if it is that house or something specific, like,
Right.
I would love land one day. If you can attach some other words to it or other pictures to it, or even I was thinking about taking little index cards and kind of attaching it to it, so it's those, we're not saying you can't dream far out, but we're saying what needs to go on your vision board right now to help you achieve the bigger things, because next year you're going to be a little closer, and the house is still going to, if the house is something 3 years from now, so don't not think of the bigger thing. But this is a mistake that a lot of people make. They just put the house on there. So it's going back to, what are the thoughts and the steps that it's going to take to get there. I'm sure you guys know that, but
I know, like, for example, some of you are coaches, and you maybe have, like, you're in the same organization that we're in, and you maybe have one of those ranks in your mind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So instead of saying like, hey, I want to be that rank, and maybe it's like a goal, it's a rank that you could probably achieve, you could achieve in a year's time. But what are the mile markers? What are the smaller ranks leading up to that rank that you need to achieve now, that you need to achieve in the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months,
right?
6
because
months?
Then
right?
That gives you something to celebrate along the way towards the big picture. Yeah.
Right. So like, you might be telling yourself, like, right now, I want to be a diamond coach. Okay. Well, a diamond coach is how many coaches? So you would, break that down. That's how you would break that down. You'd say, okay, well, if I have a goal of, this many coaches, then I'm going to have 2 by this date, and I'm going to have 4 by this date, and I'm going to have 6 by that date. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and that applies to your dog walking businesses too, ladies. I mean,
right.
I know that's really important, because I think both of the girls, they have their own business, and they're trying to make it into more like, I manage other people doing my business. So, how long would it take to have one employee versus, or when, so you can think along the way. It doesn't have to be a big corporation. Could it just be an assistant first, or whatever, or
right.
a partner that does it with you for a little bit before.
And if it is like if it's either making money or paying off some debt or something, same kind of concept. If you had to pay off $4,000, let's say a $4,000 credit card, right? Okay, so by what day do you want that credit card paid off, and why? Right? So like, don't say I'm going to have it paid off by the end of 2020. Like, look at the calendar and say, I really want it paid off by summer, so I can afford to go on a trip, or have that extra money for the kids for blah, 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 whatever it is. So I want to have it paid off by, let's say, May 1st. Okay, well, how many weeks is between now and May 1st? Okay. And how much money would I need to pay per week? Yeah. Break that down to even per day. How many days is that? Let's say it's 90 or 100 days from now until May. Okay, how much money per day right? Or per week would I need to be paying off toward that amount to reach my full $4,000 goal? You see what I'm saying? So don't just say, I'm going to pay off $4,000 and put that on your board, right? Maybe what's that first mile marker?
Yep.
Maybe it's the first $200, right?
Yep.
Okay. So don't edit the board along the way. We kind of mentioned that as far as like, don't take it away if it's just fear-based. Like, oh, I really don't think I'm going to achieve that this year. So now it's limiting beliefs. I'm running out of time. I don't really believe I'm going to be able to achieve that anymore. So I'm just going to take it off. No, you only take it off when it doesn't align with what we really.
I think when we wrote this note down, we were saying like, so the mistakes that people make is that they don't edit along the way.
You don't edit along the way.
Right. Yeah. Cause
so you're not taking it. Yes. Yes. Feel free to do it.
You feel free to add and take away throughout the year when it doesn't align.
Yes.
With what you want.
Absolutely. Then Janice,
because you're like, it's too hard. Right.
Yes. Thank you for the correction. Janice mentioned this, don't forget that the mistake we sometimes make is we forget the small wins. Don't forget to celebrate, right? Don't forget to celebrate the first $200 you paid off toward the $4,000.
Yeah.
Don't forget to celebrate reaching an emerald rank on your way to diamond, right? Put it where, another mistake is that you put the vision board where it can't be seen. Remember what we talked about from Habakkuk 2. You want to write the vision, make it plain. It needs to be clearly seen so people can, as you're on the pass by, as you're hastening by on the run. So every single day it's before your eyes. You're not going to seek it. You're not going to find it unless you're seeking it. And you got to always have it in front of you. So wherever you spend the most time or wherever you're going to see it every single day, maybe it is literally on your bathroom wall so that every morning when you're getting ready and brush 3 times a day, at least twice a day when you're brushing your teeth, you're looking at it. You know, when you sit down to turn on Netflix, maybe it's there.
Yeah.
So you only do 1 show instead of 5 in one day. You know what I'm saying? Because you see the vision board and you go, hey, I could devote the next 4 hours to something else. Right.
Yeah.
Or, for those of you working on health fitness goals, you see that vision board and the vision board maybe is propped up in your butler's pantry right next to your coffee pot where you go to at least twice a day for the refill, right? And so when you go to the coffee pot, you go, oh yeah, so this is reminding me not to eat the donut for breakfast with my coffee.
Yeah.
Right? But whatever. Okay. Yeah. So be very practical with it. Put it, another thing is that people will forget to ask themselves, like, if what we're aiming for, what's going on the board, if it really matters. Like, that's a mistake we sometimes make. And so again, it needs to be something that sparks joy when we look at it. So when you're putting it on the board, ask yourself, is this sparking an emotion? And if not, it's just, if you're looking at your board and you're just like, oh, I don't really feel anything, it's just a board, it's just got just pictures, then, and you're not getting like a real sense of like man, and a sense of urgency even, like, man, I want that for my life, or man, how cool is it going to be whenever I have that? Then it's just a board. And I mean, quite frankly, you kind of wasted your time putting all those things together. And just to smack it up there, if it doesn't really mean something, needs to evoke some emotion from you so that when you look upon it, you're like, ooh, man, I want to act on that thing. Not like, oh, I gotta work on my board, right?
I mean, some things are probably not going to be sexy. There's going to be parts of what it is going to make you uncomfortable or whatever.
But the shirts that say suck it up, buttercup, like it's going to make you want to suck it up.
Yeah. Because you have attached it to an emotion of what you want long term, right? You've got a little deeper in purpose, because that's what we're saying. These are the hiccups, you guys. When you think back, hopefully some of these have struck a chord with you and you're like, yep, that's probably why that didn't go as well as I thought it should, or whatever. So hopefully this is helping you see where maybe you've hiccuped before.
Right. And the final mistake that people make is, again, not having that moment of reflection where they are being honest with themselves and saying, okay, why didn't I achieve those things? Okay. Was it because I just didn't show up, plain and simple? I chose Netflix over my dreams, and I squandered my time and my money? Or is it, is it honestly because, my kid went through a crisis and so I had to reprioritize, and so that's why, so allow yourself to have that reflection and be honest with yourself and give yourself some grace, man.
Yes.
With that honesty. So I'm not really sure where you are in your journey tonight, like what season of you're in your life right now. But those reflections, those are those moments of truth that are going to help you as you're casting your vision for the next year, right? So allow yourself that time to do it. So it's not, your vision board is not just going to be, we don't want it to just be full of like pretty quotes and pretty pictures that don't mean anything to you, or full of goals that you are already going to make happen regardless. You want the vision board that you're making to be about you dreaming super big about what you really want to create for yourself and for your life. It's not just going to be a pretty object, okay? It's going to be a directive. It's going to be every time you make a decision, every time you have to sit down. This is where that book, The Best Yes, comes in. Like if you have trouble with prioritizing your time or having just an overwhelmed, busy schedule, then I recommend The Best Yes. It's by Lisa Turkhurst, and it's L-Y, by the way, not L-I. But and she talks about this in her book where she says, okay, like every time you sit down and an opportunity comes to you and you have to make a decision about whether you're going to say yes or no to something, you're going to look at your vision and it's going to help create clarity about whether it should be a yes or a no. Because is it going to crowd out and not allow you time or the money or the energy to chase after these things on your board that you said really would be bringing you joy and needed to be priority in your life right now? Then, and so it's going to help you know when to say yes to something, because it's going to move you closer to the things on your board, and when to say no, because it's going to actually push you further away. And I think that's why sometimes we wake up a year later and we go, wow, we're looking at our board and we're going, well, what happened? I had a whole year. Where'd it go? Why didn't it, why am I not closer to that goal? And it's because, when those opportunities came up to say yes or no, we didn't consult the board.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we got on a 3, 6, 9 month detour.
Yeah.
So, Janice is going to help us, I believe.
Well, I was gonna ask anybody here that has never heard of SMART goals, because we had kind of an exercise that we could do, but I know this is we're taking a lot of time on the work, this side of it, because we knew this was important. We didn't want you to get busy doing everything and miss some of these important steps this year. But SMART goals, who here has never heard of a SMART goal? Because we might not need to break this down like we had planned.
Just go through it quickly. We won't do the examples.
All right. Yeah.
Just go easy health and fitness.
Right. Okay. Yes. SMART goals, you just want to make sure that they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And I was actually going to use the example of a garden, because earlier it kind of like sprung joy up in my heart whenever she was saying plant a garden, because I totally just realized that I have an actual house with a yard. You guys, I can make my own food. How long have I been talking about I wish I could have a garden? I lived in an apartment for the last 7 years. So, being specific, well, this is easier. This one is an easier example because like certain things only grow in certain times of the year. So I got to get busy on just like thinking about what I want to grow and all of that. So you have to be specific on what will grow here. I have to be measurable. I have to have it planted by a certain time. It's got to be attainable. If strawberries don't grow here, I'm not going to plant something like that. So it's got to be realistic. And then timely, obviously, things harvest and grow at different times. So that was easy for me to break that down. And I just thought of it today. But so the SMART goals just goes back to break it down into bite-sized steps and make sure that it can be a big goal, but is it truly reachable? Are you setting yourself up for something that needs to be done bite-sized? Because realistically, you can't reach that this year. There's just not enough financial things happening right now. Or can you make that goal smarter by making sure that you're setting a timeline for yourself? Because if we just say we want to do that, you're going to wait until November of next year or this year, and you're crap, I have like 1 month left, and this is a goal that I had. So that's what, some of you are coaching, and you might want, this is the date that you would need to reach this by this date to be recognized this year. That timely, realistic, measurable goals, financial goals like that, business budgeting, all of that. So how many of you were listening to us? Never mind. I was trying to read my notes, but that doesn't sound right. All right. So how many of you were listening to us break all of that down? And you're like, that's great for you, because we were going to share a lot more ideas, right?
Right. But
we
still,
didn't
like us
share
talking
all
about the paying $4,000 of debt or reaching a rate or like whatever.
Right. So some of you might have been great for you, but I could never do that. So we just want to address that. That's a huge people have, and you're not alone in that. I do it a lot. I see a lot of people sharing, and especially in social media world, they have to share in order to plant this.
Is she freezing up for anybody else?
Thinking, oh, great, that's nice for her, but I can't, So we just wanted to go over some. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Go.
Okay, I think it was just because I keep shutting the door. So money mindset, where you believe you will never have or don't have enough money, and that money is hard to get. Okay, so what you believe about money is how you think.
Yeah.
You guys have heard that before, right? So were you raised at home where people said money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard to get by, we don't have money for that, rich people are bad or stingy? Do you say to yourself, I can't afford that all the time? There's a book called The Millionaire Mindset. So I'm kind of rushing through these because I just want to get the information to you guys. But Millionaire Mindset and Spirit-Driven Success go over almost anything money-wise that I've ever struggled with. And then the Spirit-Driven Success is by Danny Johnson. Millionaire Mindset, I meant to look that up, but I can find it if you guys want me to. And then there's also an Entre Leadership podcast. Okay, and you can look that up. It's free. What's his name that does that one?
Dave Ramsey.
Entre Leadership? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Then your mindset around worthiness. You don't deserve abundance or wealth. I don't deserve wealth, health, love, or a fabulous life. I'm not worthy of all the success I'm dreaming up for myself. You'll start to sabotage your worthiness. Then, of course, we have self-sabotage all by itself. Whenever something goes well, you question it. Is it too good to be true? This won't last. You might as well just give up. Or you start to build momentum and then you just stop. You freak out. Like I said, too good to be true. You're afraid of success. This is where I've been many times. And then you do that more of the self-sabotage. You build up that momentum and then you let it go. And this is where in Beachbody world, or anything, but I've heard it so much in the Beachbody world that building this business is like pumping a well. So anything that you're wanting to do, just remember the work that you take at it. If you completely stop, the well goes back down, and the pumping and getting the water up is the hardest part. Once the water starts to pour out, it's easy. That's where I'm at in my business. And sometimes I think start doubting myself, but the water is still trickling out because I've never stopped pumping. I did all the hard work and I didn't see any water coming. And I could have given up, but I knew the water was coming up. I just pumped hard enough and long enough. As soon as the water came out, that's where I'm at in my health and fitness too, I think, is it doesn't take as much effort now to keep it streaming.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So hopefully that helps you at any goal that you set for yourself, because that really made the biggest difference in my life, is understanding that concept. I'm such a visual learner, so I could just totally see that happening. I see that happen for other people that you bring in as challengers. I see them work so hard and then just let it go down before they got to that place where it was a lifestyle and it came natural to them, and it's just something they did without thinking about. Let's see. Or it shows up in some form of fear, right? So that mindset of fear, when things are going well, you notice a lump in your throat, pit in the stomach, anxiety or stress. Those all can be signs that you struggle with worthiness issues. Personal development has been a huge thing for, I know, Angel and I, and I'm sure some of you on the call still, you know that personal development is huge, whether that's your Bible time, your devotion time, a book specific in that area you're struggling with. I have listened to a lot of sermons on anxiety, because I didn't understand anxiety and I couldn't relate to people that had that. And then the more I learned about it, I was like, oh, I do. I do have that in different areas. It just doesn't, I don't recognize it in myself as you see it in other people.
So we don't have this in our notes, but I know we were going to mention Brene Brown as one of the authors that you can look for, anything self-worth related.
Oh yeah.
But you're talking about stress and anxiety. It's reminding me of the audiobook by 5 Second Rule person.
Oh yeah. Mel Robbins.
But she has an Audible book that's called Take Control of Your Life. And it's literally her going through like life coaching sessions with people, helping them to identify those symptoms of stress and anxiety and how to push it down and not let the fears control your decision making. So keep going. We're almost done.
I know.
We're wrapping things up here.
It does take a little bit to get through all this stuff. So then you can also just be a part of the mediocre martyr. I'm good. This is another place that I've been stuck at in different areas of my life. Have you ever just thought like, I'm good right where I'm at?
I'm comfy.
Yeah, I'm really comfortable. I
don't want to shake the boat. I don't want to rock the boat.
Right. And then you kind of like downplay your success. People don't want people to judge you for going after more. This can be rooted in religion or faith-based beliefs. So,
gone wrong. Quote, gone wrong. Not
gone wrong.
Just making that clear.
Yeah. This can be rooted in religion or faith-based beliefs. Why did we put that in there?
I was going to say, it's gone, like, as far as like, so if you were I had a lot of well-meaning maybe preachers in my life that maybe they said something, but I received it the wrong way, instead of like, okay, but like, so like, for example, there's a common misperception of like money being evil that runs sometimes, but that's not really what the Bible teaches. And so if you were to look into that, it's the love of money, right? And there's a difference. It doesn't mean that God doesn't want us to experience increase. Yeah. Because He wants us to live an abundant life, but it's the chasing of the money above everything else. Yeah. Right. And it becoming like an idol in our life. So it's things like that can really kind of hold us back. Or the thought, God love him and God rest him. I love my pawpaw, but he had an old religious mindset of, money, around money, and not being able to trust himself with money. Yeah. So yeah.
I think I have a little bit of that too, because growing up, a lot of the things that we said earlier, my parents were just like, "Oh, you think we are made of money?" Right. So you hear that over and over again.
Yes.
But also, maybe you think like living lavishly is bad or it's not good, or you feel really uncomfortable talking about money. So
yeah. Why do I need a nice car?
Right.
My car's just fine.
Yeah.
Like, so that would be like, I must be incredibly selfish.
Right.
Or like
want more. Yeah.
And I want to be humble.
Right.
So I'm not going to allow myself to want a new car,
Right.
So just checking the motives.
Yes, that's right. All right. So which one are you? I know we're down to just a few of you because I know it's getting late, but do you guys feel like there's a place there? Are you more afraid of judgment? You kind of get comfortable? Are you more of a self-sabotage, worthiness, having lack of worthiness, or money mindset? Lori or Amanda, do you feel like any of those like hit home with you? And I can repeat them one more time if you.
Yeah.
Repeat them again.
You can type it. You don't have to say it if you don't want to. It's totally up to you. I mean, I've already pretty much shared that like money is and self-worth has been part of mine. So I'll go ahead and be transparent.
Mine would be self-worth as well.
Yeah.
That holds me back from a lot.
Yeah.
Self-sabotaging myself.
And that was Brene Brown, you said, the book for worthiness?
Yes. Gifts of Imperfection is really good.
Okay. So Lori, add that to your list if you don't have that one already. Maybe that would be there. Go ahead.
Uninvited by Lisa TerKeurst is also a really good one. Uninvited.
I actually have that, I think, on my audio that I have not read yet.
Yes, girl.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Can you repeat them real quickly? I grasped all the information, but just repeat them real fast.
Yeah. The money mindset, worthiness mindset, self-sabotage, mediocre martyr, afraid of judgment.
And remind me the mediocre martyr.
It's like when you're good where you're at, you kind of downplay your success. Yeah.
Like, I don't really need to be that successful. I don't really need.
I already have this. I'm already good here.
I have a good life.
I call it a spirit of complacency.
There you go.
Like, I'm good. God, I'm good. But he's
right.
Like,
we use that scripture that says, learn to be satisfied with a little, and like be happy.
But really, it means that you should be able to be satisfied with a lot too. Is a part of that scripture,
right? Well, what might be a lot to us is a little to someone else if you think about it. So,
and it's not, and sometimes I think we're afraid that when we have that thought that like that desire is all about us wanting it, but it could be God putting it on our heart because he needs us to have it to flow through us and get to somebody else, or to create a new opportunity for more people,
And I saw something on Instagram yesterday. I shared it on my story on Facebook, but it was a guy, I forget his name, but he was preaching. He's like, do you want to know why God won't give you a 6-figure income? And I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I clicked on it, and it's like, because you don't know how to manage the 5-digit income, and you're not stewarding this. And like when you're talking about vision and goals, for me, I'm sitting here, I don't even know if Janice knows. It was 2 years ago. I got in a car wreck, ran through water, car totaled because I was sold a lemon. Like, it had been wrecked, frame was bent, they couldn't fix it. I hit water. It wasn't nothing else in the water. So I'm literally, my car, they paid it off. I had gap insurance, praise God, but I had no car. And single mom, 2 kids, literally like nothing. And I was blessed, and not only was I blessed with a vehicle, I was blessed with a Volvo. They gave it to me.
Right.
And I'm going, now granted, I mean, it had a little bit of work to be done, but it wasn't a $300-400 car note. Like, I didn't want to have to go out, and I'm trying to repair my credit. And so in that instance, I'm like, I want to be able to give back like that one day. But the thing is I have to be able to, and that's what, whenever I saw that, I'm like, man, like, if you have a 6-digit income, what can you do to help others around you that that are in your circle of influence that may need to have that love lavished on them so that they can help someone else? So, but yeah, but that really, it shook me yesterday. I was like, ooh, that's good, God, that's good.
Yes.
So.
And that book, Spirit Driven Success, is full of those little things, like, so good. I love that book, Spirit Driven Success. Wow, let's see where we are. Thank you for sharing, ladies. I appreciate it.
This book wasn't on our list, but it was so funny because it was put in my hand when we went to Lake Charles. It's from my hometown pastor. He was so proud. He goes, I published a book I published a book. He published 2 books, but one was like a little miniature book. And then there was this one, and it's Think Abundance. And it says, reevaluate your thoughts regarding God's plan of increase for your life. And I have started reading through this, and it's all centered around that money mindset block kind of thought, like going back to like, okay, what Garden of Eden, even like what was God's original plan? So
yeah, I love the thought that, you know, I know both of you, Lori and Amanda, and I know Angel and I
froze up.
Serve people. Oh, I phrasing up again. I was saying that we're not like the type of people that want to brag and toot our own horns. Right. We just really want to serve people. Right. You know, it's really hard to put it out there sometimes what we want, you know, because that's serving us, not other people. And we're more into the helping someone else, especially in the health and fitness world. We're here to make an impact for other people, but you know, we have to take a chance and say it's okay to do that for ourselves too.
Yeah.
But I think that was really all the notes that we had. And then, of course, we always remind you guys that you're more than welcome to join us if anybody has any health and fitness goals that you know of, that they're more than welcome to join our challenge groups.
Yep.
And then, you know, you can still continue to invite people into this group if you found this helpful, this workshop helpful, if you're watching the recording or anything like that. So. All right, we appreciate you guys being here, and if you have any questions, you guys can comment below this video. If you want more clarity on something or need help breaking down a goal, I think that's sometimes really helpful, having someone else's eyes on a goal and saying, okay, have you done this before? And then maybe we can say, these are things to watch out for, these are action steps that you might take. I get questions all the time about teaching fitness classes or being a personal trainer. Right. And, you know, or weight loss, of course, but those are just our expertise areas. But you're someone that's done it, you can do it because there's someone that's done it before. And not only can you do it, you can do it better. So hopefully all these tips have helped you guys.
So hopefully you did what we suggested. You already have pictures, or you at least have like magazines in your hand that you have. If you haven't yet, knowing from the questions we've asked tonight, you're able to start grabbing images from these magazines, not just words, but images that when you see them, they remind you of those things that you want most and the emotion that you want to create in those experiences that you're putting up on your board, the feelings you want in your life. And you're going to cut those images out tonight, tomorrow, in the next week or so. Put them on your board. So Mel had shared in the comments that she was using a magnetic board. I'm using one of these from Hobby Lobby that has you just stick the picture behind the little string. Janice has done a virtual board before. She's trying something new this year. She's going to try one of those little. And the reason cork board. Yes. And Lori's hot gluing over there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Awesome.
There you go.
Well,
so we want to encourage you.
I want to share real quick a little story behind this. Is I usually put mine on a poster board, and I'm not very crafty, or I think more or less it's not that I was crafty. It's sometimes I am started. So I was thinking, you know what, I need something that I could be proud of. And so where it's like she said, in front of me all the time. So that's what I almost got a cork board. I almost did, because I think that'll be pretty too. I know Lori puts hers right inside her workout space, and so it's in front of her every single day. And where I work out, it's like as soon as someone comes in my house, and I don't want to be ashamed of the goals or the visions that are on it, but I also wanted it to look a little cuter, because it's like actually a formal dining room that I work out in. So it's like as soon as you walk in the door. So I thought of this because then I can print out, like they even show like Polaroid pictures, and on Canva you can create a template and put your picture inside the page that looks like a Polaroid, and then there'll be room for me to write in the bottom, and then I can print it off. So Canva gives you lots of different templates that you can use, and I just wanted to share that because it's free. Canva is free, and so if anybody wants help with that, let me know, because I love Canva.
So I'm about to hit stop recording.
Yeah.
But
Go
before
ahead.
I do that, I want to make sure that we invite everyone to share your boards to the group. Either take a picture of the physical one that you've created or create a virtual one with using the photo album feature in the group itself. So if you want, and if you, so that in a year from now, or even 6 months from now, you can keep going back to the group and updating the group on where you are with your goals. And we have like our own little vision board sisterhood kind of throughout the year. But the other thing we want you to know is that there are, last year when we did this, we didn't do an hour-and-a-half webinar. We did like a 12-day workshop. Like every day we did bite-sized pieces of pretty much everything we walked through, but then went into greater detail and gave you specific assignments for each day. So if you are like, man, I really want to go deeper into some of these, or like, you know, think some more, or I need a step-by-step kind of tutorial, we have all of that organized in our Vision Party Facebook group under the Units tab. So when you click on the units, day by day by day, they're all organized there. There's a video message from us. And then there's an assignment given. And we give scripture, we give the whole thing, right? To help you go through those things. And for all of our Fit Club members, those who have the health and fitness goals, and also the people who are on our teams already and our team pages, we're gonna promise you to personally coach and mentor you through your vision board if you want personal feedback on that. If you want us to take the time, Janice and I, you know, we're coaches and mentors for you guys already. And so we're going to consider that part of our coaching and mentorship that we offer you in both our Fit Club challenge group an accountability group, as well as part of our team page. So if you want to submit your boards there or have a one-on-one session with us, we will gladly sit down and help you create those SMART goals.
Yes.
Help you take each goal and make it a SMART one, you know, and help you really ask those questions to, you know, to maybe help you dig a little deeper and figure out the why and the joy and the purpose.
Yes.
So, because I know it can be difficult when if you're doing it for the first time, or if maybe you're coming from that, you know, really hard year and you're just trying to recalibrate. So with that being said, thank y'all so much. Y'all are welcome to stay on, but I'm saying goodbye to everyone who is maybe watching the replay and saying thank you so much for devoting this time, not just for me and Janice, but for yourself. And just to know that we love you and we believe in you, and we look forward to seeing what you create through those God-given dreams in 2020. So I'm going to end the recording now. Thank y'all so much. Janice, you want to say bye?
Yes, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Bye. All right.